Good afternoon, everybody. We are here in the Central in roscrea with Mr. Jack Keeshan. Jack, how are you, love?
I'm all good.
Good. So we're here. You are about to kick off an Irish tour.
Yeah, 23rd of June.
You kick off in 23rd of June in Dublin in the Workman's Club, which will be an absolutely brilliant gig. Have you played in Dublin before, actually?
I used to play in Dublin a nice little bit there when I was maybe 19, 20, but not in the last few years. COVID came, and after that, sure, you know.
So this is going to be a big one for you.
Yeah, I can feel it in, you know, you get the feeling in your chest, and you get it in your belly, and I can see it being good, you know. I can.
Are you nervous before gigs?
Yeah. No, but I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of either. You know,
No.
It's like. I was only saying to Adele there earlier as well that like I do things now like you know instead of me letting the anxiety get to myself with the heartbeat and all that, I started doing stuff like, you know, doing press ups in the dressing room beforehand and doing a bit of shadow boxing and stuff like that. So then that's my way of saying, well, at least I'm in control. I'm making my heart race. It's not the anxiety making my heart race. It's me doing it. You know,
exactly, because it is nervy, isn't it?
Yeah,
it really
it is.
Like, I'd always be nervous before a podcast or a live or anything like that. Like
it's good though, because if you don't feel something like that, are you really enjoying it? You know?
Yeah, there's no passion in it then if you're not. So Dublin is the 23rd of June, and after that then you go to Galway, which will be recorded live as well.
The Cellar Bar, I can't wait for
the
that.
Cellar Bar. Kilkenny, Nina, Limerick and Carlow.
Yeah.
So you've got a busy few months ahead of you.
And like there's smaller gigs then in around them dates as well. It's just I kind of put the bigger gigs up online, you know. But like we're going to be playing for the whole summer. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Brilliant.
Can't beat the buzz live, you know.
You did Electric Picnic last year.
I did Electric Picnic last year. Now that was crazy because I hadn't even gone to a festival before that, you know. So
really,
that was my first time being in like a space with that many people, and just the atmosphere was unreal, you know.
Yeah.
I played my gig, and then afterwards, you know, I stayed around, I had a few beers and stayed around for a while. But then it was just like.
Well, it must have been an incredible feeling walking out on stage and seeing all them people, because there's massive crowds at that. Like
it blew my head off as well. The fact that like I was playing in a small little tent in the Electric Picnic, and the first two rows there was people in them first two rows that were singing the choruses to my songs back, and it was the first time that I felt like, shit, this is something's happening.
They know my song.
I don't know these people, and they know my. It was like,
that's unreal. That must be an incredible feeling.
It is, yeah, but it kind of it reassures you that you're on the right path, you know.
Yeah.
Because that's one thing music has done for me, is kind of made me see that we're all 99.9% of the time we're all very, very similar. Like the things that I write about, whether it's something that makes me happy, sad, angry, whatever.
Yeah.
Like 9 times out of 10, the same thing will make you happy. The same thing will make you frustrated or cross as well.
Absolutely.
And the gigging and telling stories between these songs have kind of shown me that like when you're honest with yourself, you nearly you create an environment for other people to allow them to be honest in themselves in your company, you know.
Yeah.
I heard a saying there, I think it was Carl Jung said it, a philosopher from years ago, said that every man and woman isn't just in control isn't just in control of their own emotions and their own actions, but they're also responsible for the emotions and actions of those around them. And when I first heard that, I thought to myself, like, sure, how can I be responsible for anybody else's emotions or happiness? Like, and then I sat with it and thought about it for a while, and I was like, you know, it's the days or the weeks that I'm feeling completely happy with myself. They're the days where I kind of noticed that like my relationships with my friends are better, my relationships with my brother or my mum and dad or my girlfriend are better, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that like all of that kind of starts with yourself. You know, if you can be okay with yourself, then when you're in the company of other people, you kind of nearly invite them to be themselves too. You know?
Exactly.
And it's powerful, you know. There's a power in that, you know.
There is definitely a power
100%.
in that. Yeah, that's 100% true. I'm a barber, and I know I suppose it's not the same thing, but if somebody comes in and they're in a bad mood, or if I'm in a bad mood, it definitely reflects onto them or onto me from them. Do you know what I mean? Kind of how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Who would be your inspiration, your biggest inspiration in music? Like from when you were a child, like who?
I suppose the reason I started playing music was Kurt Cobain, you know, like
really?
Nirvana, yeah. Like that would have been. I remember I always tell the story about when when I was younger, my mum had Nirvana's Unplugged album on the. Well, it wasn't. It was. She was watching it on the television.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, I was blessed. Like, being honest, I was really lucky with the environment I grew up in, because, like, you know, you have like, my mum was into, like, Nirvana, The Doors, all that kind of Elvis, all that kind of stuff. My granddad then would have been into Chuck Berry and all that kind of 50s, 60s music, Bob Dylan. And then, you know, like, my dad would have been into U2 and all that kind of thing. So you kind of, and Christy Moore and like the Dubliners, and, like, you would have had all kind of different types of music being played in the house. And like, it's just, it was a rich environment to kind of grow up in, you know,
absolutely,
to have all these different types of music playing, you know, you get exposed to everything. But, like, the reason I started writing music, I suppose, was Damien Dempsey. Like, he like, before that I used to look at, like, you know, Bob Dylan, and I used to look at Leonard Cohen and that kind of thing when I was 17, 18, and think, like, oh, that's amazing, but, like, I could never do that. Like, how could I do that? And then I heard Damien Dempsey, and Damien Dempsey was singing in his own accent, being himself, just being himself, and saying it how he saw it, and
speaking the way we would, like,
speaking the way we would. And I was listening to, like, Bob Dylan and that, and he was talking about what was going on in America, and which was great, but I couldn't relate to that, you know. But I could relate to somebody talking about what's going on in Ireland. You know,
absolutely, because we're all going through the same shit,
you know,
when it's like that.
A fact that, like, Damien sings in his own accent too, it made me kind of not be so, like, you know, beforehand, you're kind of like, you're trying to emulate the people that you, like, the likes of Bob Dylan or whatever, you're trying to emulate that as a young fella. And then you hear Damien Dempsey and you kind of go, no, I can just be Jack. You know, I can just be me. And if people take to it, people take to it. If they don't, they don't, you know. And
they are.
They are, and it's kind of, I suppose, when you're being honest, which it goes back to the honesty, when you're just yourself, people gravitate. I think people gravitate towards it, you know. So that's all I'm trying to do. I suppose what I'm trying to do with music is use it as a vehicle to kind of show people that it's okay to be all right to yourself. You know, sometimes we can all, you know, we're very good to our friends. We're very good to, like, the people around us, but we never really think of ourselves like we do our friend. You know, and the minute you start thinking of yourself like a friend is the minute everything gets better, I think. You know?
Absolutely, you have to, because self-love is everything. Like, but on the dark days, that is hard to find, but through music, I find if I'm having a bad day, I'll stick on Alexa, and within 5 minutes, anything that was annoying me is kind of gone, and I'm dancing around the kitchen, like, hoping nobody's looking.
100%.
You know, but it does work, really genuinely does.
I started doing this thing when I'm in the kind of, if I'm having a bad day or whatever, because, like, you know, I was talking to a chap a few days ago, and he said to me, what we were talking about, you know, like, mental health and stuff, and he goes, sure, man, you probably never feel bad. And I went, why do you think that now, pal? Because you're always talking about self-love and all that, and I was like, that doesn't mean I'm not human, and I don't go through days where I do feel bad. But, like, what I started doing is, on the day, and it sounds mad, I know, but, like, on the days that I might be feeling a bit crap or whatever, I'll you know, it could be something simple like brushing your teeth in the morning or washing your face in the morning. You look at yourself in the mirror and just say, no, I know you're going through it, kid, but I love you, you know. And small things like that, you know, you're just kind of reinforcing that positivity in your brain, you know.
Absolutely.
If you start going down the negative, you can stay there, you know. Just
absolutely, 100%. And I remember somebody saying something similar to me years ago. Was she said to me, I was, you know, feeling really down in myself, and she said to me, close your eyes and think of 6-year-old little Laura, and think to yourself, what made you give up on that little girl? And that really hit me, and I was like, oh my God, like, 100%. She's 100% right, like 100% right. So it was kind of down to me to say, no, you are good, and you're kind of doing well, and, you know, stuff might be going on, but you've got this, do you know what I mean? Don't ever give up on that little girl's dreams, because that little girl doesn't deserve it. You know,
I think we all have that younger self in there.
Absolutely.
I think if you really sit with yourself for a while, you'll realise that. You'll realise that there's still a part from me from a few years ago in there, and if you pay attention to that and kind of see what's going on, what they feel, what that feels like.
Exactly. We do kind of get stuck in the now, don't we?
Yeah.
And if you're having a hard time, you're like, oh, it's the end of the world. But if you actually take a step back and look at your whole life and think, no, hang on, there's so many things I've accomplished and I've done, and so many cool people I've met, and you know, it does, it kind of, it balances itself out.
Yeah, I suppose I try to stay great, like when you're going through that, like I try to take a step back and bring my awareness back to like what I have now, you know. And it's very easy to think like, you know, oh God, this is happening or that's happening or whatever. When you take a step back and you go to yourself, lads, you know, I still have my brother, still have my girlfriend, still have my parents, you know, still, that's something, you know.
Absolutely.
That is something, man.
It's a lot, like.
Yeah, it's more than a lot, like, you know. And I think when it's very easy to not to let the little things kind of just go over your head, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to be proud of the little things and be grateful for
Absolutely,
the little things, you know?
even good or bad.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
everything comes past you for a reason. But come here, the big one. Who, if I could have a magic wand now and say to you, right, you're going to go on stage tonight with this person, who would you want to go on stage with?
Damien Dempsey.
Really?
Damien Dempsey, yeah.
Good stuff. Damo, come on now.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, that would not be a bad one.
It would be, because like,
we need to get a stool for you to stand on.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I've been looking up at him here, but like it's Damo is just to me, he's like I think he's like the Irish elder. He's just, you know, he's a wise man, you know.
He is very wise.
I think every town probably has them as well. Like, to me, that's one of the men that I would look up to in roscrea would be a man called Father Larkin, you know.
Yeah.
I just think like anyone that's gone to school where I went to school would also say that.
Is he like a local priest here?
He's a local priest here, and he's the coolest man ever. Like,
really?
He's so zen, so relaxed, and he's just full of wisdom, like, you know.
Yeah. You're very wise yourself for your short years, I must say.
Yeah, I don't know.
What I've heard through your music, well, like, you know, you have a good kind of older head on your shoulders, like.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that comes from like having good people around you too.
Absolutely,
like, you know,
yeah.
Because I think you can learn from everyone, no matter what age, no matter what creed, what colour. Everyone has something to give you. You know?
That's very, very true.
If you're open to accepting it, you know.
Yeah. I know you're going to do a song or two for us, which is going to be brilliant. But how did you develop your love of music? Like, how young were you when you decided, I want to do this? Like aside from, of course, singing into the mirror, but actually writing and all that, like, was there a time when you said, I can do that?
I wrote my first song when I was 17, and since then it just kind of, I don't think there's ever there was one moment that I went like, right, this is what I want to chase, you know. It just kind of happened, you know.
It wasn't a dream since 5 years old, like.
No, I think when I was 5 I wanted to be a soccer player, then I wanted to be a fireman, and then and then like when I was a teenager, it was heavy metal and punk was like if you tried to show me any other type of music apart from metal and punk, I would have been like, go away with that. It wasn't until I was 17 and I wrote my first song, and I had a really good English teacher in school, and like, she just knew that, you know, there was no point. I wouldn't do homework, I'd be mitching and stuff like that in school, and she just knew that there's no point staying giving out to this lad. I'm going to have to try and find a way around it. And she knew that I was kind of into Bob Dylan and that sort of thing, and she just started saying to me, you know, you write me poetry for homework and bring in what you write.
Brilliant.
And I started doing that, and I wasn't getting in trouble then. I was giving her something right, and that kind of, I suppose that was.
And she probably doesn't even realise that she's kind of created this for you.
Well,
like,
I've talked about her a lot. Her name is Miss Egan. I've talked about her a few times in interviews and stuff, and she's added me on Facebook now and that as well. So it's been great to just say, you know, thanks, thanks for that. And like, Father Larkin was a big part. Like, he really encouraged me from the time I was in 6th year to just write about what I was feeling, and anytime I was talking to him, I'd be bringing him in little pieces that, like, what do you think of this, and you know, and stuff. So like, it's been but I'm blessed with the friends I have too, like, because like it's amazing to be able to kind of go record something and then not be like, I think if you're anyway creative, that old brain you're always trying to look. Paul knows himself, you're always trying to look for things that wrong. And it's amazing to have like 2 or 3 friends like Ian and John and like, you know, it's amazing to be able to just show your friends, what do you think of this? And they won't just say, oh, that's good, or that's bad. You know, they'll say, oh, that's good because I like this about it, or they'll say, oh, you know, that could actually be different. And I think that's really a good thing to have too. Like, you know,
Ciara Dignam, as you know, she is getting ready to release her 4th album. And she was saying she did a gig with Paddy Casey and Mundy in town in Dublin there a couple of weeks back, and she said that kind of similar as well was she played one of the new songs off her track that nobody had heard, and she was saying afterwards, she said like, oh, she was so nervous singing that song. She said it's kind of like having a baby and showing it to the world and hoping they're not going to say, oh Jesus, that's an ugly child. But it is kind of similar, isn't it? You're like, oh, are people going to like this, or are they going to hate it? Or
like, a thought came into my head there a little while ago about like songs, and like when you think about it, they are a little like, people will laugh at me saying this, but like they're kind of like kids, you know, because they come through you, you know, the antenna, whatever attracts the words into you and the melodies into, they come through you. But then when they're out there, they're their own thing, you know, and people are going to think whatever, they're going to connect with it, or they're going to think whatever they want to think about it. It's you can't hold that in here. Somebody else.
Although you want to protect it, like you're like, oh, if anybody says that, I'll kill them.
I used to always say before, I only do music for myself. You know? And like there's a lot of truth in that, but you'd be lying if you said that you're not. You are hoping at the end of the day that
absolutely people will connect and enjoy it. But I love you speak about things that are relevant. Do you know what I mean in life, and you know, it's not all about kind of fairy doors and crap. You know, it's what's going on now.
Like, as much as I'm talking about, like, you know, being grateful for what I have, and I am super grateful for what I have, like, it's still, life isn't like, as Rocky says, like, I'm a big fan of the Rocky movies, like, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, you know. Like, there's the world is dark, and
it is a scary, horrible place.
Scary place. But saying that, if you look for the good in it, you'll find the good in it.
Absolutely, there is a lot of good. Absolutely. What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at a gig?
Oh, lads, there's been mad things lately. There's been mad things happening. Like, there, I was playing in the Source Theatre with Gemma Hayes. This only happened there a little while ago, 2 weeks ago actually. And I got off stage, went back into the dressing room, put my guitar down, and says to Adele, "Come on, we'll go out and we'll watch Gemma now, you know." And I said, we're just coming out of the dressing room, and I was going to the toilet, you know, and there was a line for the toilet. I stood in the line anyway to go to the toilet, and there was these 3 girls, and they were literally just a few metres down from where the boys' toilet was, and I was lining up, and they were all like, that's your man, what's you? And I was just like, what is going on? This is weird, like, what the hell is going on? And like,
I recognise it.
But like, well, I just didn't know what to do. I kind of didn't know what to do, so I just kind of went like, oh, well, girls, what's the crack, how are you? And they just like looked at me and went, oh, and then like read off, and I was like, this is weird.
Well, that's shortened the queue for the toilet.
But you can see, like, when that sort of thing happens, you can see, like, when you take a step back from it, you can see how people that are very big, you know, how that could be, like, that was only a small scale for me. That was only 3 girls, you know. But you could see how, like, people that have loads and loads of people being like that with them, you can see how they shell up and kind of go, okay, I don't want to talk to anyone.
I'm not going to Tesco's.
You know, and like, it's a strange thing, because you just feel like, I'm just Jack, you know, and it's mad when you play on stage and you make a connection with a few people, how they kind of, and I did it as well when I was younger, put you up on a little bit of a pedestal, or make it seem like, oh my God, you know, and it's like, I'm just me, you know.
And that's a really good thing, because you are like really grounded and super grateful, like, for kind of everything. And even when we said we coming down, you were like, oh, fair play, dude, that's brilliant. You know, like, it's grand, you know what I mean? But I don't think even you realise the impact of your words. Do you know what I mean? So it's incredible to watch, and I'm really looking forward to watching how this all unfolds for you, especially all these gigs this year, because it is incredible. And you're so young, so that I know, I can imagine the nerves of kind of going out there and even just walking into wherever it is that you're going to do the gig, like, because I know that if it was me, I'd be getting to the door and going, oh no, I can't do it, and back into the car, and I'd be gone.
Well, like,
I'd be
I have these things that I do as well, like before gigs. Like, I would have had I told you before, I had a very special connection with my granddad, you know.
Yes.
And he was like, I suppose if there is a person that I still hold up on a pedestal, it's my grandfather, you know. I just think he was looking at the way he connected with people, and even just walking through roscrea with him as a kid and seeing the impact he had on people, you know. They just lit up when they saw him. That, like, now I'm even wearing, like, I wear this every gig, it's the Delaney crest, you know. My granddad's name was Paddy Delaney, and like, I just kind of, and I have a necklace, so I'm not wearing it today, but I have a necklace that I wear at gigs with my granddad in the necklace, and like,
in a picture.
I just kind of, like, you know, when
you're needing them.
I just say, just mind me now, you know.
Just, you know. I love that.
And I can't say I believe in Jesus, can't say I believe in any specific thing, but
you know he's with you.
I feel that, you know, and I don't care what anyone says, like, you know, I really feel that.
No, I'm the same, 100%,
like, you know, and that gives you a sense of, it's grand. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and even if you're walking out on stage, you feel like you're alone walking out on stage. You know, he's got your back.
Yeah, you know,
he's there with you.
And like, you know, I don't think you have to. I don't think you have to be religious to
no,
believe that. Like,
absolutely not.
Everyone has their own. I'd be spiritual. You know, that's the way I describe it, I suppose.
Good man, that is brilliant. That's really good. Jack, where would you like to see yourself in 10 years, man?
10 years. Well, it's hard for me to picture that because I try to stay here, you know, like, as much as I can. I try to stay here, but if I was to talk about like an ideal where, like, I'd love to be just doing the same thing but on a larger scale, you know, like being able to connect with more people and just kind of, as I said before, all I'm doing with music is trying to get people to be a bit better to themselves. And that's all I'm about. And
that's like a really powerful, positive message that you send out through the music. I love that. Like, it's kind of about kind of being patient with people and loving yourself, and you know, kind of, you have to fix yourself first to be able to kind of, I suppose, make your relationships with everybody else better, and that's incredible. Like, for somebody so young, I think that's really admirable. Like, so.
Yeah. Well, cheers. Thanks.
Fair play to you on that one. So, come here. Will you do an old tune? I have a couple of more questions for you, but we'll do a tune first.
I'll do this is a song called Love Survives.
This is the new song. This is due out on the 14th of June.
It's due out on the 14th of June, but I kind of wrote it after watching the news for too long, you know, and I suppose I was playing it one night a while back now in roscrea, and it was the first time I ever played it, and I saw my dad with the corner of my eye, and it was in the Black Mills down the road there, and I could see my dad with the corner of my eye going like, and I was like, okay, that's good, that's all right.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good sign.
But it goes like this. Not very sure about what's going on anymore. The rich keep on lying, the poor keep on dying. Working class living, but we're barely surviving. Now how could this be that we couldn't see the blame placed down onto you and me? One day you're crying, the next day you're thriving. Lace up them gloves, now you gotta stay fighting. This world's like a ring, it's tough and it stings. It will beat you, try keep you from achieving anything. So lock up your smoke, this life's not a joke. Stop living your days through some sniper scope. Love comes back again to see you through the things you do. Trust yourself, my friend, you know you're right to fight for this today. Yourself, hey, that's okay. Every day is a school day anyway. Learn to let go now and love yourself. Everyone can do this for themselves. They're true life's ropes, wearing gloves of hope. Deep in this fight is where you learn to cope. They don't understand, just like we say, their hate will swallow them anyway. Love comes back again to see you through the things that you do. Trust yourself, my friend, you know you're right. But fight for this too. Love comes back again to see you through the things that you do. Trust yourself, my friend, you know you're right. But fight for this today. I may not be sure, but I know that the answers are not in war. Cheers.
That is brilliant, man. Fair play to you. Absolutely brilliant, man. Fair play. That is class.
Thanks.
You have a powerful voice.
Thanks.
Really powerful voice. Jesus, and I heard that you sent me that, but it isn't nothing like hearing it, like sitting here beside you. I have to say, absolutely brilliant.
Cheers.
Jesus, that'll bring a tear to your eye. Come here. What advice would you give to anybody starting off young, starting?
I think, like, to me anyway, it was very hard to. What would you say? When you're starting off, it's very hard to, like, when you get up in front of a lot of people when you're starting off, it can be very like, oh my god, how am I going to do this? This is mad. So, like, I started playing in front of my friends and just being like, well, man, what do you think of this? You know, and then
That's
like,
probably harder though.
to me, maybe it is if you don't have good people. Like, if you don't have the thing with, sometimes I think, you know, we can all be guilty of this too. You want everyone to like you.
Yeah.
And when you want everyone to like you, sometimes you attract. Or not, you don't attract it, but you don't ever get close to anyone when you want everyone to like you. But when you make your group smaller, your friend group smaller, and you have real connections with people, then you can kind of do that. You know, you can, because I felt very comfortable showing my friends the tunes, because I knew that, like, I don't know if it's probably not a roscrea thing, it's probably everywhere, but, like, you know, if somebody didn't like something, they'd be like, man, that is actually bad, you know. Like, you know,
and you wouldn't take offence to it.
And you wouldn't, no, because it's good. You need that, like, you know, you need like, I write every single day, so you need to dig through the crap to get to the good things.
Good, man, because that's actually something that I thought you only kind of learned in your later years. Like, I mean, I was close to 40 before I realised you keep your circle small. You know, because that's just what life has taught me, is to just keep the circle small.
You have to have real friendship is something that you have to nurture and care for, because, like, if you have, like, if you're going out and the only time you're meeting your friends is just to drink or to you know, do drugs even, or stuff like that, you're not really friends. You're just people that drink together or take drugs together, you know?
Associates.
And like, it's when I started meeting my friends for coffee or going for a walk, or, you know, even myself and Ian, where we're going to be shooting film this summer too. Like,
very good.
It's Ian's brilliant, so it's savage. But you know, like, it's when you start doing stuff like that outside of the pub, outside of all that, like, that's where real friendships are made. You know? And I've seen that. For real.
And they're the lifers. They're the ones that are going to be in your life forever.
Like, even my friend that moved away to Canada, I hadn't seen him since school, say. So we left school in 2015, and I only kind of started hanging around with him again maybe 3 years ago. So, and it was mad to see that, like, even though all that time had passed, we just went back into the best friends we were in school, and that was a really. And
you were devastated when you went into. I was talking to you, I think, the day that he went.
I cried like a baby, so I did.
Yeah,
it was like it was tough, because, you know, when you have a friend there that you can talk about anything with, and I never let myself take friendships for granted anymore. You know? I think maybe I did that a little bit as a kid. You know, I think everyone does that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, like, when you don't take your friendships for granted, when they're gone, you do miss them more than you would have if you just kind of, like, I suppose if you're just out drinking with someone and they go, there's going to be somebody else sitting beside you and all that. But when a friend that you just hang out with all the time anyway goes, it's like, oh, that's different. What's going on here? But it was cool because we had a gig then in here the next night, and I was able to talk about it on the stage.
Brilliant.
I was put it all into.
You do a lot of that on stage, don't you? You do kind of talk to the crowd, which I think is really important because you're bringing your own personality out in your music. I mean, there's so many singers and musicians out there that we don't actually know who they are. You know what I mean? Who is that person? What's their thought process? But you kind of talk a lot through your gigs, which is brilliant. Yeah,
I try to, because it's, to me, it's always been the thing I've done since I was a teenager, is kind of tell the story about the song before I play the song, so people can kind of understand where I'm coming from, you know. Yeah. Because you know, people can kind of well, I've had to do it a lot lately because I have this song called How Are You Son, and there was a night I played it down in the stand, the pub down the road here, maybe about a year ago, and I was bringing out my first EP. Yeah. And so I got up anyway and just said that this song is about a letter, not knowing what to do with that letter. And then I went into the song, and there's a line in it, and it says, "My mother's a drunken bitch," you know. Yeah. First two. I hope you gave him a slap for that, did you? But you know, like it was strange because I would have never thought about, you know, people might think it's about my mother, you know. And then I saw people's heads turning, and my mum came up to me afterwards. She's like, "Everyone thinks I'm the drunken bitch." Yeah, probably all hiding the wine when she's in Tesco's. But I was there kind of going like, I never thought about that, like, you know. So Jesus, Jack. The stories have become more you know, since then, especially. Let us just clarify, Jack's mum is not an alcoholic. She's a lovely lady. Jack, what? Right, this is a tough one, right? Go on, hit me with. If you could sit and talk to your 13-year-old self, what would you tell him now? Oh, lads, that lad, he was very. I think he's probably not too unlike a lot of 13-year-olds were at the time, or even 13-year-olds now. Just, you don't know who you are, you don't know what you just don't know anything, and you're trying to act like you do, you know, and act like you know everything and all that. But you know it all. It's probably just to, you know, slow down a bit. And, like, sometimes I do tell myself, even now, to slow down a bit. But I suppose the biggest thing I tell him is that you don't have to be liked by everyone. Yeah. You know, you just have to know who are your people, and you know, be nice to everyone. Do it, like, because I can actually hand on heart say I never really went out my way to try and put anyone down, or try and you know, do anything negative towards anyone, like, you know, in a bullying sort of way or anything. But that's all I would really say, is just to slow down a bit, and you're going all right. Yeah, you got this. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you don't worry, you know. Right, I have a quick this or that round for you. This or that. This or that, and then you can do your another tune. Yeah. Okay. City or country? I know the answer to this. Yeah, country. No, that doesn't mean I don't love the city. I love going up to Dublin, but I love coming back too. Yeah. I love. But I suppose that's probably, maybe that's just what I'm used to, and that's like, I don't know. Roscrea to me gives me. I live a little bit outside Roscrea. I don't know, because I'm always saying I'm a Roscrea man, but I technically live in a place called Shinrone, which is just outside of Roscrea. Yeah. So it's technically an Offaly. But I'm a Tipperary man. Good man. But it's you know, I think the country to me, especially Roscrea, there's just it probably goes back to my granddad. You know, feeling grounded here and feeling like I could just walk. This is where your heart is. Yeah, you know, I could walk around Roscrea on my own, just drinking coffee. And feel brilliant. Good man. There's something nice about it. Talking or listening? It's a hard one. Because you kind of have to do both, don't you? It's been so. I know what your man wants to say. Probably talking, yeah. It's been something I've become aware of, though, is that sometimes you can get too excited or too overwhelmed talking to somebody, and you can kind of. Maybe we're all guilty of it, but I know I'm definitely very guilty of it. Is where you kind of. You don't listen as well as you could when you're constantly trying to talk. Sometimes I feel like, and I do see myself at it too, is you're listening to the person talk, but you're already formulating what you're going to say in your head. I'm doing that right now. So I always do that. And Chris will tell you, I cut across everybody, and he was saying to me, "Laura, you just kept cutting across there." I was like, "Oh, sorry." So it's been something I'm trying to get better at, you know. I'm hopefully I am getting better at it. But yeah, that is something, definitely.
All right. Coffee or tea?
Coffee, yeah. I love tea though too, but coffee, yeah.
Yeah, I love me coffee now, I have to say, yeah. Cake or sambos?
Sandwich, yeah.
Right, and one more, but this is not a this or that. Oh, two. If you could be reincarnated as an animal, what would you be and why?
My favourite animal is a turtle.
A turtle?
A turtle.
Oh yeah, they live a long
because
time.
they have a hard exterior and like, you know, they're soft in underneath it. And,
like an armadillo.
Yeah, you know, and like that's the way I try to make me, you know, the that mental side of it. I try to kind of tell myself I can do anything, you know. But,
yeah.
But I know I can be vulnerable and I can be soft as well, you know. And I like the whole idea of I'm very much about, you know, you mind your friends, you mind your family, you mind those around you, and you know, that's what the turtle, you know, he's doing that to himself, you know. You're it's like a shell, you know.
Yeah.
And when I'm with my friends, I'd be very like, I want them to be okay, I want them to be all right, you know. And that's the shell, but underneath it, then we can talk about whatever we need to talk about. But we'd be a good, bad, you know.
Yeah.
Whatever, you know. And
so we may see a turtle on an album cover someday.
Possibly, yeah. I like turtle, but I don't know. Yeah, probably. Yeah. I'm going to have me thinking about that. I answered that without even thinking.
He ring me later and say, no, I changed my mind, there's going to be something else. Okay, if you could only eat one type of food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
That's hard, no. Pasta, pizza, yeah. I don't know though. Yeah, probably pasta or pizza.
Yeah, I would have thought you would have been a stew man.
No, I like my spuds. I love spuds. I can't be spuds.
Yeah, we're Irish. We love our spuds.
But I love, like, if you get somewhere that does really nice pizza, it's hard to, you know, I love pizza and a pint. It's like, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair, isn't it?
But I don't know. Maybe spuds on pizza probably doesn't sound too.
Yeah.
No, that probably won't work.
Well, listen. As I said, we are here in the Central in roscrea, and you're absolutely brilliant, Jack. I have to say, I've been looking forward to this for a few weeks. I want to thank everybody else for coming. Jack's mum and dad are here. His girlfriend, his friends. It's an honour to come down and meet you in your own hometown. And you gonna do one more song for us then before we go?
You know, I will. I'll do this one. It's called "Next Door's Child's Cry," and yeah, we're alright. It's I wrote this after seeing an eviction happen on Facebook Live, you know, and usually, yeah, but like, you know, you'd be scrolling so much on Facebook that you're seeing good things, you're seeing bad things, and I think your senses get a bit overwhelmed.
It is a bit of a mindfuck on that.
Yeah. So like the bad things you're seeing, sometimes I don't think fully go in, because you're just seeing so much of it that it's just, you're kind of being desensitized to it.
Yeah.
This eviction that I saw happening had kids involved in it too, and it stayed there, you know, and I couldn't get it out, so I had to write about it. So this is what came out. It's called "Next Door's Child's Cry." Just your look, it's my grave that you took. The sun then shone from his eyes. Then my mother, she came to the door, and I heard her next door's child cry. Now little old Johnny, he did nothing wrong, but the man's too blinded by greed. And well, 6 holidays and a trip to the States, when there's single mothers with more than that to feed. Now they're dividing, they're conquering. They control what you're thought and told. They're lying, there's people dying, and they make it seem so black and white. Now I am some bastards son of banging on about a time that's been forgotten and gone, while too many are dead. And too many have been forgotten. And it's not about who's right and who's fucking wrong, and it's not about even finishing this fucking song. It's about the truth and the lack of it being given to me and you. Da 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 da
That's class, man. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So that's it, Jack. Thank you so much. And obviously, this is Talk of the Town podcast. I'm a Lone Ranger today because Tracy's in work, and as we all know, Ciara is at home with Christy, and she will be back. But guys, thank you so much for being here, and Jack, thanks for inviting us down. With fucking goosebumps here. Delighted.
I just want to say before we go, Christy was we played before. Myself and one of my friends from Roscrea got the chance to sport Aslan in Galway when we were like 19, you know. I was about 19 or 18, something like that, yeah. But I can remember being, you know, completely shaken like this, you know, like an hour or 2 hours. You're there, you go, I'm on before Aslan. Oh my God, Jesus! Like, what? Oh God! It's just really, you know, and you're just like, you can't believe it at that age. You're just like, oh my God. Aslan, you know, and I was going around in a daze, just being like, oh God, and you know, then Christy walks out from behind the stage, and he's like, hey lads, come here, you're supporting us, are you? And I was like, oh God, he's talking to us, oh no, what was that? I was just like, you know, it's one of the moments where you nearly go like, hi, I'm Christy, you're Jack, you know. And like, but he was just so calm and didn't even talk about music. We were just talking about everything and anything, you know, but we didn't even talk about music. And it was just like, he had this presence that was just like calming, you know, kind of like what I was saying about Father Larkin. He just had that kind of
so
relaxed,
and
it just relaxed me down, and it was just like amazing to be in his company. Like he's just a hero.
He's a national treasure, isn't he? Yeah, he is
a hero. So I wish him, you know, I wish everyone up there the best. You know?
Obviously our thoughts are with the whole family at the moment. But yeah, Jack, thank you very much. Cheers. Everybody, thanks for coming, and Jack's mum, you did a fucking great job, woman. Thank you.